Hi there, welcome back to Life on Two Wheels. So today, as promised, we're going to do a review of phone mounts, and we're only going to look at the three best phone mounts you can get. We're going to look at the Brompton QuadLock, which is a phone mount for the Brompton, designed in cooperation with Brompton, so it comes in a Brompton branded box. We're going to look at the Trigo mount, which is also specifically designed for mounting smartphones on Bromptons. And we're going to look at a third option. And that third option is one that many cyclists don't appear to consider because I haven't really found many videos about it. And that's what we're going to look at today. Is it necessary to ask the question, why have your smartphone when you're riding your Brompton? Well, consider this. We have the phone in the office, we have it in the car with us, in the living room, we have it in the kitchen, and we have it at the dining room table, at our bedside, and well, pretty much everywhere. Why would we not want it on our Brompton? Would Luke Skywalker not want to have R2-D2 behind him in his fighter? That's why we need our smartphones on our Bromptons. So I lied just a bit. We're not actually going to do a deep dive on either the Brompton QuadLock or on the Trigo mount. Why? Because Victor of Everyday Cycling has already done an absolutely unbelievable product video for both of those mounts. So what we're going to focus on here is the third mount. Now, that means you have to go to Victor's channel and you have to take a look at his analysis, and you'll find a link to that below. So what's this mystery mount that most cyclists don't appear to use and that I'm recommending? The answer is it's the RAM mount, the RAM X mount to be specific. Now, RAM is a company that makes like a universe of mounts, primarily aimed at industry and at motorcycle users and so on, which is why I think it's not present in the bike market. Now, the RAM mount, let's follow Victor's analysis grid. So the first thing we're going to look at is price. Now, in terms of price, the most expensive one is the Brompton QuadLock. The reason for that is that you've got to buy the QuadLock on the one hand, and then you separately have to buy a mounting adapter for your phone that's either glued onto your phone or you've got to buy an adapter case. The Trigo mount, same kind of thing, but the QuadLock comes in at $70 once you buy the mount and the adapter. The Trigo mount is at the low end of the scale, so it comes in at about, I think Victor pegged it at $32. These are all US dollars. I'm in Canada, but I'm using US dollars as well by way of comparison, so we're looking at oranges and oranges. The RAM mount comes in between the Brompton and the Trigo. It comes in at approximately, to be specific, I guess, not approximate, $58, and you can find that at that price with the accessories that you need on GPSCity.com, which is like the go-to place in the US for RAM mounts. In Canada, that would be GPSCity.ca. Same thing. You can find mounts to mount anything, fishing rods. I mean, anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to go into it, but there is an unbelievable universe of RAM mounts to pretty much stick anything on anything else. So the winner of the price in the price category is clearly the Trigo, but you'll see that in other respects it gets beaten out either by the Brompton QuadLock or by, in this case, the RAM mount. The next thing we're going to look at is weight, and this is where the RAM mount is at a disadvantage. Now, I should preface this by saying that the RAM mount, you can see that it's got all these components that go into the installation of it on the bike. This is for the motorcycle model. I happen to have some left over because I've been using RAM mounts for various reasons, for GPS, phones, and so on, on my Vespa motor scooters, and so I happen to have them lying around. So obviously that's what I'm going to use. There are specifically there are Ram mounts, Ram X mounts, specifically designed for bicycles where the whole mounting mechanism has been altered more along the lines of the Brompton mount, or not so much the Trigo mount, but essentially eliminating the whole Ram ball system, which personally I think adds a tremendous amount of value, as we'll see a little bit later on. But clearly there's a weight penalty with the model I've chosen to install on our bikes. Specifically, Victor, I think, pegged the weight of the Brompton QuadLock and the Trigo mount at approximately 60 grams. I had to take mine to the post office to get an accurate weight for it yesterday, and the assembly is 239 grams. Now that's, I know right away there's some road cyclists out there that just passed out in disbelief. Most cyclists are very, very sensitive to weight. Victor, interestingly, he's a commuter, and he says he's not weight sensitive at all. He put in the weight category because it's an important category. Susan and I are kind of like weekend fun cyclists, and weight is irrelevant to us. And I think money makes appeals to us more than weight, and so reusing these mounts that I already had for the Vespa made the most sense rather than going out and buying a new ecosystem or anything like that. So that's the weight metric. The Trigo is the most economical weight wise, and so Victor gave that one point. He was anyway. That's you'll see his video. That's how he set up his scoring system. And I've given the RAM mount, specifically the one I'm using, a -2 because of that incremental weight. The next thing we're going to look at is build quality. The build quality for all three of these mounts is stellar. I think they can survive an apocalypse. They're very, very well built, all of them, and there's no concern there. Victor gave the Brompton QuadLock a 0.5 point edge. I would give the RAM mount, because I mean it's built like a tank. I would give it a full point. So I'm giving it the win in build quality, but it's only a marginal half-point win over the Brompton QuadLock. So in the grand scheme of things, more or less insignificant. The next thing is installation of the mount, and here Victor gave the Brompton QuadLock the win at 1 point, and gave the Trigo, or didn't award the win to the Trigo. Why? Because he had to actually modify the Trigo to make it work with the Brompton. He had to use a file to shave off some of the metal on the mount in order to get it to work on the handlebar, and so that clearly it wasn't going to win as a result of that. And in terms of installation, I feel the RAM mount is even better than the Brompton QuadLock. Why? Because the QuadLock only installs in a narrow range on the handlebars, so you can have it rotated a little bit further, a little bit back. Whereas the RAM mount, because of the nature of it, it will install 360 degrees around the handlebar. And so I've given it, on the installation, I've given it a 1.5 versus the 1 point for the Brompton, to indicate how the RAM mount, I think, is a lot more versatile in terms of its installation. It's very easy to install. You can see in the video here how easy it is to install. So I guess that's all I can say about installation. The next item in Victor's scorecard or scoreboard, which is really, really important, is the installation of the adapter. And by this, he means that in order for the Brompton QuadLock to work and for the Trigo mount to work, you need to either glue a kind of a bayonet adapter onto your phone, or you need to get a phone case with that adapter molded into it so that the phone can connect to the mount. Here's the beautiful thing. I mean, this is outstanding. I've got a brand new iPhone 12, and I've got this very, very fancy leather case that I got for it. It's a product red phone, product red case. I really, really like this. I mean, I guess you can figure I'm some kind of a snob. So I wouldn't want to be gluing an adapter onto this, is the point. So when you take a look at the RAM X mount, there's no need for an adapter because you just spread the little eagle arms, and it just grips your phone and it holds your phone super, super, super securely. So I give the this or the adapter aspect to it, of which the X mount has none, I give it a score of 1.5 over Victor's 0.5 mark that he gave the Brompton QuadLock. Victor also liked the fact that the Brompton QuadLock had a little, like a silicone ring to make sure the phone gripped well. You can't really tell on the screen, but this is like a silicone disc, and so that contributes to holding the phone very, very securely. Now, I've used X mounts, as I've mentioned, on my Vespa. I've done, somewhere around, I don't know, if I have to guess, 50, 60,000 miles on my Vespas with the X mount, the RAM X mount. Interestingly, the older models didn't have this silicone like safety plate. I have never, ever had an issue. But if you're paranoid and you figure maybe that's not a good enough grip, the mount now comes with this silicone kind of apron-y, I don't know what to call it, this thing. And so what you do is you fit this over the ball on the X mount. So then it looks kind of like this. And then when you install your phone on it, okay, when you install your phone on it, what you do is you take these loops in each of the four corners here, and you stretch them over the four corners of your smartphone. I got to make sure that I do it in a way that you can see, and so you just do that to each of the four corners. You slip that on like this, and that's not going anywhere. You could blast this. I'm not sure. Yeah, you can see how that grips on the four corners. You could blast this into space. Elon Musk could connect this to a motorbike or something and blast it into space, and it would go through the universe and land on some distant planet in a distant galaxy, and the phone would not have budged. It is, anyway, I don't use this silicone thing because experience has taught me that there's no risk. I travel at expressway speeds on my motorbike. My phone has never gone anywhere, never had an issue. So that's the story for the adapter. And as I mentioned, that results in a score of 1.5 versus the Brompton QuadLock's 0.5 score, simply because it's easier and it's a more elegant solution at the end of the day. The next point here is The next point on Victor's analysis scale is adjustability. And here he ranked the Trigo first. He gave it a point, whereas the Brompton QuadLock got 0. I can't exactly remember why. You're going to have to go and, as I said, you're going to have to go and watch Victor's video. I would have to refresh my memory. I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm giving the RAM mount a score of 1. which matches the one that score of one that Victor gave the Trigo mount. So they're tied. But I think in terms of adjustability, um, you know, to be honest, the RAM mount is far more adjustable, and it gives you many more options in terms of how you position your phone. So in reality, I mean, subjectively, I think that the RAM mount deserves to be the winner here, but you'll see why I don't want to give it too many points. The next one is ease of use, and I've kind of already touched on that. Super simple to put the phone into the mount, and ease of use. Victor gave the win to the Brompton QuadLock over the Trigo simply because he found it much easier to actually mount the phone onto the bike, like to snap it into its adapter. And the same thing is true. I'm declaring a tie between the quad lock and the quad lock and the RAM mount, because just spreading these arms and slipping the phone in, super simple as well. And when you get used to it, you can't install it with one hand, but you can certainly take it off with one hand in a very secure fashion. What's the next one? Neatness. So on the neatness level, Victor gave the win by half a point to the Trigo, simply because it's got a very small profile, and when it sits on the Brompton, you could be forgiven for not really noticing it if you look at the Brompton. Clearly, um, I mean, I wouldn't say the RAM mount is hideous or ugly. You can see what it looks like on the bike, but it's not it's not going to win in terms of the neatness category. Um, the next item is the ecosystem. Here, I've given the RAM mount the same score as the Brompton QuadLock. As Victor points out, QuadLocks come for motorcycles, for bicycles, for cars. I mean, there's a really nice ecosystem for those mounts. The same is true of RAM mounts, possibly even more so. If you drive a bulldozer, you can find a RAM mount for that. If you need to mount an iPad on the dashboard of your overhead crane, there's a mount for that. There's RAM mounts for just about anything, but we'll just declare a tie between the QuadLock system and the RAM mount system when it comes to mounting phones on bikes. The final thing is versatility. Victor found that the QuadLock was slightly more versatile than the Trigo, and I think because it was possibly easier for that mount to have the phone in like portrait mode and so on. I'm giving the win here to the RAM mount, and the reason for that is that when you don't have the mount installed, you've got the ball mount on the handlebar, and that acts like a pummel, and you can use that to hang a helmet. You can use that to hang a bag. You can use it to hang anything really on the handlebar, a shopping bag. Even when you've got the X mount mounted onto onto the ball, and you can also have different options depending on the length of the ram arm that you attach to the ball. And I show you where you can have a relatively long ram arm, and you can put a GoPro on the end of that and either film yourself or film the path that you're taking using a GoPro, for instance. There's a ton of RAM mounts for GoPros, cameras, and pretty much anything else. They've even got RAM mounts for kayaks. I'm not quite sure if that relates to mounting the kayak on something or mounting something on the kayak. I rather think mounting something on the kayak, like maybe a GoPro on your paddle. Not quite sure. Don't have a kayak. Don't know. So that's it. I think that completes my analysis. So on this basis, I feel very comfortable with the total score that the RAM mount gets using Victor's methodology. It gets a score of 6 versus 4.5 for the Brompton QuadLock, and 3.5 for the Trigo mount, and that includes the 2-point penalty that I assigned to the ram mount because of the weight factor, which is a deal breaker basically for many cyclists. So that's it for this little product comparison video. By all means, go and see Victor's analysis, because if I were you, I would watch that before I watch this, but I guess it's too late now because you watched this video. Also, I'd like to invite you to go to the blog, where you'll find the touring guide, the gear guide, and a lot more. It's basically motorbike centric a little bit in those terms, but as time goes on, it's going to have more and more Brompton content on it. So also, Susan and I are planning a trip to Vancouver as soon as our pandemic vaccines kick in. So that could be July-ish, September, not quite sure. But one thing for certain is that we're taking our Bromptons with us. I've already got a packing solution. I would say 75 to 80% done, and that's going to be the subject of another video. I know there's a lot of how to pack your Brompton videos out there. My solution is inspired by others that I've seen. Maybe with some little adjustments. Anyway, you'll have to wait until I get around to publishing that video. So thank you very much for dropping by. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And when you do subscribe, as Chris mentions on her channel, don't forget to see, I've got no little bell to show you here. Maybe I'll put a bell sound effect in. Don't forget to activate the bell so that you get notifications whenever I get around to posting a video. Don't worry, you're not going to be that annoyed or inconvenienced, because I'm a very slow editor. So take good care. Nice to see you on Life on Two Wheels, and we'll see you next time.
Tomorrow, closing in this fast. Oh, I guess time's in a rush. Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back while I